What's up guys, JayFerGaming here and welcome to my review of the F1 Singapore Grand Prix from 2014. So, obviously in the country of Singapore, it's the night race, and qualifying was really exciting with the top, I think 7 cars were separated by about 4 tenths, and that was including the Ferraris, Red Bulls and the Mercedes, so something was definitely up there. With the Ferraris and Red Bulls being very fast on the super soft tyres, and Hamilton took it by 7 thousandths of a second, which was pretty amazing. It was such an exciting session, with the 2 Red Bulls locking out the second row and Alonso in 5th. So from the start, actually on the formation lap even, Rosberg was having problems, electrical problems with the car, and as we all know, he retired in the end, but he couldn't take the start as he kind of stalled on the grid. He couldn't get the car going, so he had to be wheeled into the pit lane, which was actually a bit of a struggle. It was quite funny to see, as he couldn't lock the wheel enough to turn the car into the pits. And obviously from the start, Hamilton he should have taken the lead, which he did, because there was no one in second position, which gave a free run for Vettel from 4th to take over his teammate Ricciardo, but Alonso got the best start from 5th on the grid, a traditional Alonso start that we haven't seen for a while, as he flew into second place but kind of outbroke himself into the first corner, went wide, cut the corner, and eventually gave the position back to Vettel, which was probably the best thing to do, as based on the penalties given out in this race, he probably would have got a 5-second penalty, so that was a good move on his part. Raikkonen was up to 5th. I was really impressed with Raikkonen this weekend, but it didn't work out for him in the end, as I'll talk about in a bit. But Rosberg started last and struggled to get past Chilton, eventually got past him, and then was behind Ericsson for about the first 10 laps or something. I can't remember what lap he retired, but 8 laps or whatever it was behind Ericsson. And he was getting overtaken left, right and centre when drivers had pitted. But there were team orders from the Toro Rosso, was Kvyat was a bit too slow for Vern's liking, and Vern, who's getting kicked out of the team at the end of the season, made the call, and he flew past his teammate and had a great race in the end. Well, Hamilton, he didn't really build up a big lead in the first stint. He was about 7 seconds ahead of Vettel, and then Alonso was keeping him on his toes, with Ricciardo a few seconds behind, and then Raikkonen, and it wasn't really an exciting race in the first 75% of the race. It was quite dull, if I'm going to be honest. I was quite bored. It was like the end of 2013 when Vettel was winning all the time. You just knew Hamilton was going to win, but obviously there's things that mix things up this season. Even if it seems dull for about 90% of the race, the last 10 laps it will be pretty entertaining, and that happened this season. As the safety car came out, as after his pit stop, Perez was hit into the wall by Sutil. It was definitely Sutil's fault. I don't know what he's doing this season. Sutil in the past has been pretty decent, but he just seems like an amateur at the moment. This season, I know he's in a struggling car, but him and Gutierrez, just a bad team. It's not going well for them whatsoever. So Perez damaged his front wing, and coming down into the former Singapore sling, his front wing went under his car. It could have been a big incident if he went flying straight into the wall there. So that brought out the safety car, which brought out an interesting turn in strategy, as Hamilton didn't pit but the cars behind him did for the soft tyre, and which meant that they could all run to the end, and Hamilton would have to sprint out into the distance, make a pit stop. And would he have a gap? He did eventually. He came out in second place behind Vettel, but the commentator was making such a big deal. Oh, he might come down and come out in 6th place. Even if he came out in 10th, he would have overtaken all the other cars and won the race. Because going on to the DRS straight, what do you need? A lot of grip, and that's what he had over the other cars on aging tyres, and it would have been an easy, well, it wouldn't have been as easy, but it still would have been an easy victory. The commentators are like, oh, it's annoying, especially the ones on Sky Sports. So Hamilton obviously won the race, a pretty easy victory. It went well for him. I expected Hamilton to win because Singapore's a good track for him and he's got the speed around here. And Rosberg retired after, I don't know, I'm guessing about 15 laps in. Probably the best thing to do. His car just wasn't working, the electronics were messed up, and he saved the engine and all that. So that could pay off in the final few races, as the cars are pretty short on these parts. Vettel finished in second place, which was his best result of the season. Looking back, that's really surprising. And he should be doing a lot better, but I actually was cheering for Vettel to win because I just didn't want the Mercedes to win. They always do, and Vettel did well. He didn't have the greatest pace at the end. He was holding Ricciardo up, which kind of backed him into Alonso. But he had the pace to stay ahead of Ricciardo, and a decent performance from him. It was really needed to get his confidence back up, and as long as he's not winning every race in the front, then I'm not a hater of Vettel, even with the multi-21 stuff. Ricciardo was third. I think he was quite lucky to be in third because Alonso had his number for most of the race. I think it was because of the pit stops and the Red Bulls getting the undercut on the Ferrari, which knocked him out. Massive fifth. He had a good race, but 25 seconds behind Alonso. He just kind of disappeared. I know the Williams car didn't really suit the Singapore track as there's not really long straights, but I suppose he got 10 points and he beat his teammate Vernon 6th, who got 2 penalties for overtaking off the track. Kind of fair, but the second one was a bit harsh. He got pushed off the track. I don't know, maybe he should have given the position back, but on the final lap was the exciting part. Bottas was in 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Raikkonen couldn't get past, and then there was likes of Perez, Verne, Hulkenberg, all clustering together, and then Verne made some bold moves around the drivers, and he had the penalty at the time of 5 seconds, so he had to sprint down and gain a 5-second lead over the other cars, and that's what he did to keep his 6th position and give himself 8 points, his best finish, equal best finish in F1, and that should make a couple of teams in the midfield look up and think he could be a driver for us next season. And yeah, I think he kind of deserves it. If he had the opportunity, I think he'd be pretty good. But I'm thinking maybe a Lotus. Can't really see him anywhere else, to be fair. Force India, nah, don't know. But Perez seventh, overtook Hulkenberg and Raikkonen on the final lap, and Bottas, and recovered well from getting put into the wall by Sutil to get some solid points and beat his teammate. Raikkonen 8th. It really should have been 5th, but the strategy wasn't the best for him. Cars kept getting the undercut. Massa, Bottas both did, and then he just couldn't get past Bottas in the final stint as he wasn't wearing tyres, and Perez got ahead of him. Kept Hulkenberg behind, who got a couple of points. Didn't really perform too well this race. His performance has dipped the last few races. Magnussen finished 10th with 1 point. What happened to him? Did he get a penalty? He kind of dropped out because I suppose he was struggling because apparently the drink was actually burning his mouth, which is strange to hear. And I think he was getting cramped hands when it came to driving, so it just puts into perspective the fitness of the younger drivers, as Kvyat was having a similar problem, and then when Verstappen comes in next season, surely he'll get like cramp, because I can't see his fitness being as high as others, because he's like a stick basically. Bottas dropped from 6th to 11th on the last lap. His tyres had absolutely gone tyres off the cliff and just failed. Maldonado and Grosjean, Lotus did okay. They were around 10th position most of the race. They were unlucky to not get some points. When I saw Maldonado and Grosjean on 1 point side by side, I was thinking, big accident, safety car right there. Hamilton might not win this, come on. But yeah, 12th and 13th there. Kvyat 14th. I don't know where he disappeared to, because he was racing with Verne in the early stages. He must have had a problem there. Not sure what. Maybe a strategy, because he went super soft, then soft, and then lost a load of time. Ericsson 15th. He was running in 12th, I think, keeping some of the faster cars behind for a little bit, and he was out racing Rosberg for a while, so that would have probably got his confidence up. But he did beat the two Marussias, which is a bit of an achievement for Ericsson, who has had a really bad season. Bianchi, Chilton, I don't really know what happened to the Marussias, because to be fair, you never see them in the race, which is a bit unfair, but What can you do? And they were the last finishes, as only Chilton was lapped, which is a bit of a surprise. Button retired, he was doing pretty well. He had Raikkonen behind him. He was in the top 7 and running a solid race, as he has been doing all season. Can't believe there's talk of him not having a drive for next season. He has to have one. Sutil, Gutierrez, no surprise. The Sabres had an awful weekend. Rosberg, we've talked about. Kobayashi retired on the formation lap, so a shame for him. So it was a pretty average race. Looking forward to the next race, which is the Japanese Grand Prix. Hopefully be an exciting one. Hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you in the next review. Goodbye.